Hello, my friends. After my last video, I took a couple of days to get caught up in my real life job, following the hecticana week, if you will, last week. And I finally got finished with all that, and I started recording the second video reacting to Amber's most recent crash outs, her lives. And I see Despicable Moments actually posted on Instagram, I think, that Tammie, Aunt Tammie, all of a sudden says, debating who I should sip some tea with. And of course, everybody's like, oh, what? What is happening here? And then we find out Tammie actually posted this short on her YouTube channel, and it's messages to Emily. And it's pretty clear when you read these that she is protecting Amber, or trying to, and telling Emily, to stay away, basically. From what I can tell, it's the fact that Tammie is concerned because of Amber's food addiction, and she knows that Emily is dangerous for that. And so basically it just says, I know who you are, I know what you've done, calling her a feeder, that kind of thing. So this, to me, looks like an aunt who is concerned for her niece. Yesterday evening, Jordy went live, and Tammie popped up in his chat.
Is that Tammie in the chat? Oh my God, it is her. Tammie, hello. Thank you so much for joining us this evening.
And they decided to actually have her call in and talk to him so they could actually kind of do a little impromptu interview. But basically, like, the minute she showed up in Jordy's chat and started talking to him, Amber went live to try to, again, get out ahead of it, right? That's what she does. And she basically just reacts to the interview. She just watches the interview, of course, in her own stupid way, watching it on her laptop and then just pausing it every once in a while. She's not going to take the time to learn how to share her screen or anything like that. But yeah, she is absolutely crashing out again and deflecting. And her whole defense, again, is, I know you are, but what am I? So let's just see what she had to say while she was reacting to Aunt Tammie talking to Jordy. What is happening in Girl World? This is crazy. I'm trying to keep up. If you'd like to like and subscribe, that would literally be hectic. I'm not going to lie. And one more thing before we get started. There's a video by SeptaSeven, and they do a really good job. It's all about Tammie. There's a little bit of build up. The first half of the video is kind of setting up the story. But when it gets into the Aunt Tammie stuff, you will see a lot of context for what we're going to talk about later in this video, and how even though some of the stuff Tammie is talking about on its face or on paper doesn't seem all that bad, it's when you put it all together as one big picture, you can start seeing that Amber is really manipulative. She's very selfish and entitled and will never reciprocate, but she expects everybody to do everything for her. So I highly recommend watching this video. I will put a link to it in the description. Again, it's by SeptaSeven. It's about almost a year old now, but it gives a lot of context for this live. Amber starts off by kind of trying to explain how this all came about. And of course, it's that her aunt is unhinged and crazy, and she is concerned because she thinks she might not be sober and all kinds of stuff, trying to discredit whatever her aunt is going to say.
Genuinely, I'm scared for my aunt. She almost sounds like she's, not fully sober. That's the best that's how it seems to me. The things that she is saying is just, no the craziest thing I've ever seen. Anyway, so I
She is so quick to get on here and defend or to try to set the record straight. She just seems awfully desperate to get out ahead of it. So I have listened to pretty much the whole interview between Tammie and Jordy, and a lot of it, Tammie is talking about Mama Lynn and kind of their history.
My sister was homeless on the streets. I yelled for her name at the top of my lungs for 8 solid months in very dangerous neighborhoods looking for my sister. I have the picture the day I found my sister. One of the happiest days of my life, but it's not even when she got well. It still took a while. It took her to go to prison. Amber loves to talk about that as the victim, even though she wouldn't even write my sister.
I am a victim.
And a lot of the kind of messed up stuff Mama Lynn did back when she was using and stuff. And Mama Lynn is clean now, so I think she's doing much better. But a lot of the interview is her talking about Mama Lynn. So I'm not going to put much of that in this video, but I am going to react to some of the things that Amber says about what Tammie's saying. But throughout the interview, I just kept thinking, why is Tammie talking about this now? Because there weren't any real bombshells. There wasn't anything crazy that she was revealing or anything. And most of the stuff she talked about, we kind of already knew. And there was a minute there, to be honest, I was thinking maybe Tammie just wanted the attention. Maybe she is kind of like Amber and she just wanted a few minutes in the spotlight. But after listening to the whole interview and listening to the way Amber's responding to it, and then watching SeptaSeven's video and watching some old clips of Amber talk about her aunt, I think I know what's going on. And the good news is Amber puts almost everything she does online. So we can go back and listen to old clips of her talk about her aunt, and we can see kind of her attitude. And it's pretty clear that she expected her aunt to bend over backwards for her and her mom, but her mom was using and was violent and was dangerous. And so when Tammie had had enough and set some boundaries, Amber didn't like that. And she would berate her aunt for not helping and not doing anything for her mom.
Me and my aunt, we got in an argument because I was shocked, hurt, disappointed that she wouldn't let my mom, kind of just stay under her roof. It's her sister.
And so Tammie would go out of her way and bend over backwards to help her mom and do whatever she could.
It's been about a half an hour since I told you guys about my mom. And my aunt did more than just gave her like a little snack. She gave her, shampoos and deodorants and I guess these coupons for 14 free tacos and like 7 free breakfast sandwiches and cigarettes, of course. Lots of snacks. And it really just brought tears to my eyes. Because if you guys knew like the situation of my family, from my aunt, I would expect, her to help my mom, but I guess I didn't expect such a big help and such a quick help, if that makes sense.
But then eventually when Tammie said, I've had enough, I don't want to do this anymore, and it was Amber's turn, Amber was nowhere to be found. She would not help.
Everyone knows my sister was in prison, right? My sister was in prison for strangling our mom in a drunken rage. She loved to spread that. Never a dime on her books. It was me every single month.
So even after all that, Tammie was stuck helping again, while still being shit on by Amber online. And Amber telling everybody that her aunt is trying to ruin her life and her aunt is hurting her. She always says people are hurting her.
Do you feel like your aunt is doing the same thing to you that your parents did? I feel like my parents didn't purposely try to hurt me. I feel like, thank you, Lauren, for the bars. I feel like drugs chose them, and they didn't know how to escape that. And I know deep down they felt bad, and they were feeling pain. But I feel like my aunt is trying to purposely hurt me. So in a sense, I feel like my aunt is actually hurting me more than what my parents did. And I know for a lot of people are going to be like, what? But it's like, when you have a family member who's purposely trying to sabotage your life, it's kind of scary. And it's kind of like, what kind of family do I really have?
And so I was giving it some thought. And a lot of the stuff that she brings up about Amber it's really things that don't feel like they're that big a deal. Or it's stuff that I can understand Amber's perspective on, like not giving her mom money and how often she goes to the Chinese buffet and stuff like that. And I almost found myself like defending Amber, almost. But something clicked. I've come to a conclusion. Here's what I think is happening. Because Amber will always say that she did nothing wrong.
Like, I didn't do anything wrong.
She will always blame everybody else for whatever happens. And she'll be so confused. Why are you doing this? I did nothing to you. But what she doesn't understand is you don't have to do like a really terrible thing to somebody to get them to not like you, right? You don't have to like punch them for them to decide not to talk to you anymore. And Tammie, when she's giving this interview to Jordy, she'll tell a story or tell something that bothers her, and then she'll say, I could go on and on and on. And it seems like she's having trouble really picking what stories to tell.
Well, I mean, it's so much to cover, and I just think I would be talking around and around and around, but I guess that's a place we can start.
And I think what's happened is it's sort of a death by 1,000 cuts situation. Just imagine having to deal with Amberlynn on a regular basis, right? Being in her sphere of influence has got to be so obnoxious and just frustrating. So she's doing these things and she's got this entitled attitude. She expects everybody to bend over backwards for her and never reciprocates. And then never takes accountability or responsibility for anything. And just has this smug attitude all the time, like she's better than everybody else. So over time, when Amber is constantly asking you to do things for her or do things for her mom, and then never reciprocating or never appreciating, and when you do bend over backwards to help or go out of your way to help, and then Amber goes online to shit talk you.
My aunt has completely stopped talking to me. In December, she blocked me on Facebook. She blocked me on her cell phone, blocked my number completely. I have no way of getting a hold of her whatsoever. And the reasoning is because I'm fat. Okay. I'm not kidding.
And then when her aunt calls her out, then she'll contact her in the background and say, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done that.
So if you guys remember my aunt situation, when I uploaded a video about how my aunt doesn't talk to me anymore because I'm fat, I ended up talking to her and my cousins regarding that video. I had no idea they were going to see it. I had no idea my aunt even watched my YouTube anymore or anything, and they were greatly offended. But at the time, I was vulnerable and I was upset, and I really felt like blaming my weight on everything was just like the easiest way to go.
You get to a point where it's like, I can't take this anymore. I cannot talk to her. I don't want anything to do with her. And it didn't take a big falling out, but there's a certain point where that straw breaks that camel's back. But when you try to explain it, when you try to give somebody context and try to explain, why do you not like this person? What happened to cause you to come out and talk about this person? You sound like the crazy one, because on paper and individually, those things don't seem like that big of a deal. Or there may be an explanation, or you may go, well, yeah, but I can see this being the case or whatever. And so then you seem like the crazy one, and Amber can go, what are you talking about? I never did anything. You're crazy. But she just doesn't understand how obnoxious and frustrating and annoying she is, and entitled to be around all the time. And I think the reason Tammie's coming out now and sort of breaking her silence and burning this bridge is because, you know, as I mentioned at the beginning, she had messaged Emily and clearly has a problem with Emily and the way their relationship went. And it seemed to me as though she was concerned for Amber's safety and I think Mama Lynn's sobriety. And I think she sees all the drama that Amberlynn brings to the relationship. I think she sees Amberlynn's obvious addictive personality to food, to sympathy, to attention. She may not be on drugs, but she is addicted to some stuff. And so that, on top of all of the drama, on top of all of the stress that she brings her mom with her relationships and with the YouTube stuff, and then on top of that, constantly relying on Mama Lynn to do everything for her, and you know she never reciprocates and never appreciates it, I think Tammie is concerned that being around Amber is going to send Mama Lynn down a dark path, or it might threaten her sobriety. Because she knows Amberlynn doesn't really care. She will say all day long, she will give lip service to caring about Mama Lynn's sobriety and all that stuff. But if it came down to it and she had to choose Mama Lynn's sobriety or me getting something I want, she will always choose her getting something she wants. Amber will. Period. And I think Tammie understands that Amber's number one concern in life is Amber. That's it. So that was just something that sort of clicked as I was listening to all this, because I just kept thinking, yeah, I understand being annoyed by that. I understand that being a problem, but why are you all of a sudden coming out and piling on during this big blow up and stuff? And that's when it sort of dawned on me, like, she's having trouble explaining what Amber did to her because it was just being Amber. It was just existing. Amber is really difficult to deal with. And you get to a point where you just can't anymore. And so she burned the bridge. In fact, Tammie has said Amber did try to reach out, but she was done. Tammie at that point was done. She didn't want to talk to her anymore. We don't know Tammie all that well, so I can't guarantee that that's what's happening, but it sort of fits, you know? So those were just kind of my thoughts on why this is happening, because if you watch the interview with Jordy, it's hard to really figure out what it is that really pushed her over the edge. But I think, like I said, it was just a lot of little things over the years. And I think Amber just being oblivious to how entitled she's always been and how she just expects everybody to do things for her and never does anything in return. And I think the Emily stuff was sort of a tipping point because it was clearly dangerous for Amber and likely dangerous for Mama Lynn. And I think Tammie was finally like, fine, if you're not going to listen to me, if you're not going to actually take some responsibility, then I'm going to let everybody know what you're really about. That's just kind of what it sounds like, given all the context and stuff.
This is very weird. Spencer, yes, this is so weird for a family member to do. Literally out of nowhere, after recently seeing me in distress, she literally outright said, let's make this worse.
So I wonder why. Why is it, Amber, that you have so many people that A, have stuff to talk about when it comes to you, right? Have so much tea to spill, and B, want to pile on? Most people don't have, I shouldn't say most people. There are a lot of people with family drama. I get that. But most of it's not this public. So again, the victim. She's the victim. Now, it is a little weird that Tammie just came out of nowhere. You know, I don't know what prompted this. I don't even know she even mentions it. But Amber doesn't understand that's her life. That is the life that she has signed up for.
She outright said, my niece is in distress. Instead of reaching out to her, even though she's done nothing wrong, let me make this worse.
What does that mean? Instead of reaching out to her, even though she's done nothing wrong. Again, she is so obsessed with trying to prove and trying to convince everybody that she can do no wrong, has done nothing wrong. Why can't an aunt just reach out to a niece that's, going through something? Why even put that comment, even though she's done nothing wrong? What does that have to do with anything?
Like, literally, if she's gonna talk about drama from my early 20s or when I was a teenager, like, okay.
That's where a lot of her lies and a lot of her trauma and a lot of the excuses that she makes for all of her behavior comes from. I want to know about space. I want to know how much she choreographed,
I would choreograph dances.
I'm human at the end of the day.
My sister and Amber have done me extremely wrong over the last 2 years, and
My sister and Amber have done me extremely wrong in the last 2 years. Where am I? Where am I? Where the f am I? Twinkie, pinch me, baby. Pinch me.
See, this is the overacting. This is the exaggerating of somebody who doesn't really have an argument, right? And she will tell a story and stuff, but sometimes they do this to buy time while they're thinking of something to say. But yeah, it's clearly just her being dramatic and trying to make it sound crazier than it is.
Is this a dream? A nightmare? I literally just told you guys exactly what it was. I went to her Thanksgiving in 2023. I thought everything was fucking fine with me and her, me and my family, this and that, besides the fact that my mom and her were fighting and arguing. I would message her randomly asking how she's doing, how's COVID, Merry Christmas. Like, what? She would respond like one, it was dry. Like, it didn't matter to her. She had all these promises of, oh my God, we're gonna hang out, we're gonna go do this, we're gonna do that. Blah, blah, blah. Never once did she want to hang out or do this and do that. Once I was finally here. And then the last thing I messaged her, February 2024, was a picture of me and her during Thanksgiving.
So just kind of keep that in mind, because Amber's timelines are always wackadoo, right? They never quite add up. And that's definitely going to be the case here, because she's saying that the last time she contacted her aunt was in February of 2024. Okay. And that her aunt didn't respond, and they have not spoken since then. Actually, that they really haven't spoken since the Thanksgiving of 2023, but that Amber tried reaching out in February of 24 with that picture just to say hi. And she'll say that her aunt just never responded and won't talk to her. So just kind of keep that in mind, kind of keep that in the back of your head as we go forward, because apparently she talked to her aunt about Emily while she was in Wisconsin, which would have been long after that. So, I don't know.
Just like me, I've seen every single video she's ever put out. I have tried to be a good aunt to Amber.
You've never tried to be a good aunt to me, love. You've never tried to be a good aunt to me.
That's a bunch of bollocks, because she really did try, but it was never enough for Amber. Nothing ever is.
Here I am in the flesh trying to be a good niece for you. How some way you wanted me to take your side over my mom's when I said I'm not taking anyone's side. Like, I made that very...
You very obviously, clearly took Mama Lynn's side. And whatever has happened, you and Mama Lynn are best friends now, or at least, that's what it kind of seems like. I mean, she's your ride everywhere. She's your only connection to the outside world. So you kind of need Mama Lynn. I don't think you would be quite as close to her if she wasn't so useful to you, but that's just an opinion. But yeah, you did pick sides, for sure.
And do you want to know something really fucking crazy? She got married on my mom's fucking soberversary date. My mom's soberversary is November 1st. And it's going to be, this year will be 10 years. My aunt got married on my mom's 7th soberversary date. Who does that?
Now, wait a minute. Okay, listen, I understand the anniversary of getting sober is a good deal. It's a cool deal. It's something to celebrate when you are the person that's celebrating it, right? And your family too, but it's not a holiday. Do you really expect people to rearrange their whole life for a soberversary? Come on. The fact that she is so upset about that is weird. But her outrage at something so innocuous against her mom shows that A, she really thinks her and her mom are very, very important. Even the soberversary should have been a consideration when somebody's planning a wedding. But also it shows that she clearly has taken Mama Lynn's side, which I get it. It's your mom, even though, that is complicated, but you can't then say you don't take sides, because you very clearly did. I cannot believe you got married on the anniversary of the day my mom got sober.
I'm just trying to be your person, I've tried to teach her on how to diet and exercise and make good choices and say...
She's tried to teach me how to diet and exercise, even though she's gained all her weight back that she lost when she was doing keto.
See, this is what somebody has to deal with when you are a family member of Amberlynn Reed, is this smug attitude, this entitled attitude. Yeah, she was trying to help me and save my life, but also she's a dumb, stupid face. She is just so ungrateful for everything. And, in the chat, there are more supporters of her than usual. And some kind of people that might be riding the fence are even like, I don't know why Tammie's doing this. This is a little weird. But it's because there was not that big thing that Tammie can say, Amber did this, and everybody goes, oh my God, I can't believe it. It was just that kind of attitude that Tammie's had to deal with forever. No matter what she did, Amber had this smug, entitled, ungrateful attitude. And of course, she would just be Amber and lie about everything and twist everything and exaggerate everything. So, I just wanted you to see this smug look she's got.
Moving on.
Save money.
Oh my God, that's so annoying. Look at this. She's actually, the saying, looking down her nose at you? That is exactly what she's doing. She's looking down her nose at her aunt and at Jordy.
Like, everything was literally fine. All because you're having an argument with my mom, like, you're taking it out on me. Like, all because you have bed bugs and had to get rid of every single ounce of furniture you have, you're taking it out on me. I didn't give you bed bugs. I didn't do anything
You sure about that?
to you. I don't know what's happening. I'm almost gonna.
And again, it's deflection. Tammie's talking about Amber, and Amber has to deflect to bed bugs and to other things that have nothing to do with anything. And it is to discredit Tammie and to make her look dirty and to make her look incompetent so that you will believe her less and believe Amber more.
She's still running the narrative that she's this poor little victim. Amber had more chances than most people do. You know what I mean? Yeah, she came from a addicted, abusive household. Oh my God, toxicity galore. Like, worst case scenarios. It is true. The difference is she was rescued from that, you know, put into foster care. Every foster care house she went into was better than I had ever dreamed of living in.
That's interesting. Tammie's saying that the foster homes that Amber went into were not as bad as Amber claims.
I'm sorry, but you know nothing about my foster care experience, and you should not be bringing up my fucking childhood. Like, you're genuinely insane. I did not know you during those times. I did not know you. I met you when I was 17. I think you held me as a baby. And that was it. That was it. I didn't even know you existed.
I would be interested to see what Tammie says about that. How did Tammie know what Amber's foster experience was like, you know? Because she sounds like she knows what her foster homes were like.
You know what I mean? She had those opportunities, but she squashed them, and she never.
You don't know what I went through in my foster homes. I have shared bits and pieces of these things.
Never appreciated them. She would talk mad shit, even
'Cause I'm
about
allowed to,
them
Binks.
to me over the phone while they're in the talk mad shit, even about them to me over the phone while they're in their, you know, huge house and swimming in their pool and feeding her. Never good enough.
Where am I at?
I can absolutely see that happening, right? She gets into a home that is wonderful. They're taking great care of her. She's eating all she wants. And Tammie's saying they had a pool. And I understand that she went to more than one foster home, but this was something I wanted to remind you of.
And we went to Disneyland, my foster parents, me, and foster siblings.
I've never been to Disneyland, no.
I have. I've been to Disneyland more than once. How old were you when you went to Disneyland? I actually went to Disneyland when I was 16 and when I was 17. Have you ever been to Disneyland? I have. I've been twice. Both times I went, I was 17. So if you guys remember me sharing, my foster mom did pass away recently, and it was actually that foster mom that made that dream come true for me.
But if they do something or say something that makes Amber mad, all of a sudden they are the devil. And this place is horrible, and you guys wouldn't believe what I'm going through. I didn't get a second piece of cake. I hate you. Yeah, I can absolutely see her foster experience being one of very little hardship, but her internalizing it as the worst thing ever because she didn't get her way, you know?
I'm in a huge house with a pool getting fed, and I'm yelling on the phone. I literally feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone. I genuinely am so confused.
See, and all Amber has to do is say, that didn't happen, you're lying. I don't know what you're talking about, you know? And of course, it is she said, she said. And that's what a lot of this stuff is going to be. She said, she said. But we know Amber lies, but we don't know much about Tammie. So take all of this with a grain of salt. But I'm just saying, I can see that being the case, that Amber would just be mad and then say it was a horrible experience.
My mom is so hurt and shocked by this, and wait until she hears like what's happening now. My mom is gonna be so hurt.
So keep that in mind. Keep this sentence in mind when we get to the conversation she has with Mama Lynn later. She's gonna be so hurt. She's just, I don't know what she's gonna do. Keep that in mind. I also want you to keep this in mind when we get to the conversation with Mama Lynn.
So today, my mom calls me and she was like, "Do you see what's happening?" And I was like, "What?" Because I'm telling you, I have tried so hard to just like not be on social media the last few days because I was like, I need a break. Like, life is rough right now, okay? So my mom's like, "Do you see what your aunt is doing?"
So keep that in mind. She is saying that she had no idea what was going on. And her mom called her to say, "Do you see what your aunt is doing?" And Amber was like, "What? What is it? I don't know." Just remember that.
I hate when my mom's fucking hurting. She doesn't deserve any of this fucking drama and stress. Like, she doesn't.
I'm sorry. Amberlynn Reed just said her mom doesn't deserve all the drama and stress. Who was it that called their mom constantly about Emily while she was in Wisconsin? And could have just gone home, but instead kept bringing that drama to her mom. I feel like that was somebody, I can't remember. Anyway, drama is your life. So if your mom doesn't want drama in her life, then what are you doing there?
Like, obviously, I'm in foster care. I was neglected. And for my aunt to be sitting here, well, Amberlynn didn't give money to her mom when she was in prison. I'm sorry, but I didn't. I didn't. But now if my mom needs anything, I'm there for her.
Yesterday, my mother was sentenced to prison for 5 years and 26 days. Found out that she has to serve every single one of those days. It was really hard for me to grasp. I was completely numb when I found out yesterday. I was shocked, and I woke up this morning and it all kind of like just hit me all at once, and I could not stop crying.
And Tammie gave Amber the address to write her mom a letter in prison. It was now Amber's turn to be there for her mother the same way she expected Aunt Tammie to be.
For when I save my mother's and I's prison type of letter deals, I got this really cute, it's actually peacock, like what? Peacock binder for that.
So when her mom was in the middle of her addiction and was dangerous and Tammie started setting her boundaries, Amber would go off on Tammie and be angry online and talk about how her aunt won't let her mom live with her and things like that. So she had no empathy for her aunt, even though her aunt was just setting boundaries. But then once it was Amber's turn, just like the SeptaSeven video said, Amber just didn't do it. She didn't pay anything for her mom. She didn't write a single letter to her mom.
I don't know if it's really but I didn't write my mom. She's in prison, as you guys know, and I haven't written her. She wasn't there for me ever. I was in foster care because of her.
And I understand that her mom was not a great mom, so she doesn't owe her mom anything, but neither did Tammie. That's the bottom line. Nobody owed her mom anything, but she acted like it was Tammie's responsibility to take care of her. The fact that she says, if my mom needs anything, I'm there for her or whatever. But it was interesting when they went to eat, and her mom was talking about how expensive the meal was.
And it's not too expensive here.
$20.
Mine was 22.
That's expensive.
I guess.
Good God, girl. But it's fun to treat myself like this every once in a while.
Yeah.
To treat myself like this every once in a while.
It was very clear that Amber was not paying for the dinner or the lunch or whatever. So that painted a real clear picture that A, Amber doesn't pay for her mom when they go out or do anything, even though her mom is driving her ass around everywhere. But it also shows that her mom doesn't have the money to be just throwing away at $20 meals and stuff. So yeah, I don't think that's true. I don't think she pays at all for her mom, even though, again, her mom is her chauffeur, is her sort of part-time caretaker.
Amber was there visiting me before my sister even got there, and we were good. We were really good.
We were good because I feel like my own aunt love bombed me. I visited her when I was 17.
See, everybody else love bombs. Everybody else is the problem. And she learns these words, and then she just uses them for everybody else. She will never say that she's love bombed anybody. Instead, she says that her love language is gift giving. That's what she would say all the time when people would point out the love bombing.
I visited her when I was 17,
and everything was good. And I was there for like a week and a half, almost 2 weeks. I was there with my brother, and we went and we did things. We went camping, we swam in like this man-made beach, like we went bowling, we did all kinds of things. Like, and then I move in when I'm 18, and then we do nothing. And it's miserable. Like, it was misery upon misery upon misery.
So when you're visiting an aunt, that's kind of what they do, right? When you're visiting, they take you to see what's going on and to do things. Like, that's normal. That's not love bombing. That's, hey, my niece is here to visit. Let's go do some stuff. My niece and nephew, you know? And then when you move in, why would you expect to keep doing that? Now you live there. From what it sounds like, she didn't know you were going to be moving in a year later. She just knew you were there to visit. Like, hey, my niece and nephew are coming. Let's figure out something we can do during their visit. And then a year later, do you expect to go bowling and to man-made beaches every day when you're living there? Like, no, that was a visiting thing. That's what family does when you visit, if they're able to.
Misery upon misery. They didn't even have enough money to get food or anything. So I went and got food stamps. And I remember I sat there and I was approved for food stamps. And I was like, I'm so glad like I was able to help. That's all I said. My aunt went crazy. That was the first time we ever like had a true.
I don't buy that for a second, that that's the way the conversation was, that Amber was sitting here like this as an angel. I'm just glad that I was able to help. And my aunt went crazy. Bullshit. I don't know how that conversation actually went, but it was not that. I guarantee you Amber was like throwing it in her face or just being an ass about it. I'm sure that they both said some things that were not nice, but there's no chance that Amber was being the dainty, saintly girl saying, I'm just glad I could help my dear aunt. Bullshit. That argument did not happen because she was being too nice. But that's a narcissist, right? We got in an argument because I'm just too awesome. Keep in mind that narcissists don't actually think they're awesome, for the most part, from what I understand. They just want you to think that they think they're awesome. They want you to think they have confidence, but they don't.
Big argument. She went crazy because all I said was like, I'm glad I'm able to help because I gave her all my food stamps.
Yeah,
like,
that's all she said. You know, all she said was, I'm just glad that I'm able to help my dear aunt and my family. Okay.
It was just like.
See, and this is why whatever she's saying in this entire live, I have trouble believing it because this is obviously a lie. That conversation did not go like that. It just didn't. So what else is she lying about? Probably everything, at least a lot of it. And just FYI, the sound in her live was kind of choppy for a little while. So sorry, I couldn't do anything about it.
When I hugged her goodbye on Thanksgiving, I was like, I can't wait to see you again. You should come over. She never took the steps into doing so. Like, she crazy pants eraser from her life. Oh, I'm done, though. I'm done from any of these bitches. I'm so fucking done. And yes, I just called my aunt a bitch. That was very freeing. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh my God, that smug look. But here's the thought. She said, I can't wait to see you again. You should come over. But then Amber says she never took the steps to do that. It's your house. Did you not invite her? Did you not call and say, hey, why don't you come over for dinner or something? I understand that saying you should come over sometime is sort of an open invitation, but it's kind of on you to at least say, hey, would you like to come for dinner or something, you know?
She used me to go check out her apartment because her mom didn't have time or the want.
I didn't use you to go check out my apartment. You were willing to do a virtual tour for me. How was that?
That is also something Amber doesn't register or doesn't understand. That maybe people aren't always willing to bend over backwards for you. Sometimes they probably feel pretty put out and pretty annoyed because you are taking advantage of them. But Amber doesn't see that because in her mind, everybody is always willing to do stuff for me because why wouldn't they be? I'm Amberlynn Reed. Everybody wants to bend over backwards for me, even though I will never reciprocate at all.
To do it. I was good enough to be contacted then. I was the one who checked the apartment she still lives in. I was the one who did all those arrangements so she could have that apartment. Then
she didn't do any arrangements so she could have my apartment. I wanted a virtual tour.
It sounds like she was doing a lot of stuff so you could have the apartment. If she took the time to go to the apartment and do a virtual tour, it sounds like she kind of went out of her way to help you. But of course, in Amber's mind, she was so happy because she was fortunate enough to help me.
I do have things to do. I am on a time constraint. I have a little bit of time.
It was like 10:30 or 11 her time at night. What the hell does she have to do at 10:30 at night? Shut up. But she always wants to sound like she's a big adult person who has important adult things to do.
So she just used you to. You think the only reason why she initially reached out was to try to get help with her apartment?
No, because we were talking a lot prior to that. The only thing she ever did, it was a virtual tour that I could have gone without. It wasn't like I needed to see it. It wasn't like a need to see type of thing. It was just like do you want to see the virtual tour? Do you want to go do the tour for me? And she was so excited to do it. Oh my God, you guys have no idea. She literally was crying during the virtual tour because she was so excited.
Okay, again, Amber just thinks everybody lives to serve her and lives to do things for her. I asked her to do this mundane, monotonous activity, and she was so excited because it's for me. So of course she was. She was crying. She was so excited to do something for me. She was crying. She was probably crying because she had to deal with your ass.
God, it just goes on. I mean, literally the last 13 years, tons of texts, tons of arguments, not talking, me catching her in another lie, not talking again, doing the hard love, the tough love, trying it again. She would send me novels. I'm so sorry, Auntie. I can't believe I treated you this way.
Why?
See? And that's it. And I think that's exactly what's happening is she says it was 13 years of talking, not talking, catching her in a lie, and then Amber apologizing and all this stuff. And eventually it just wears on you to the point where you're like, I just don't want to deal with this anymore. And then she sees Amber online lying about stuff or playing the victim all the time and is like, somebody needs to set the record straight, you know? And obviously I'm here for it because it's entertainment. And I know Amber hates that, but that's the life she has created for herself. Her life is entertainment. That's what she kind of asked for, right? It's sort of a monkey's paw situation.
I push people away that I love. I know it's me. And then it's the same shit over and over and over.
It's just weird because like all the times that we have argued, it's like I can see where I fucked up and like, yeah, of course I'd apologize for that because if I do something wrong, I'm going to apologize. That's just how it goes, right?
I would love to hear specifics from Amber about the times that she feels like she needs to apologize to Tammie, you know? Because something tells me it would be like, oh, I'm so sorry I did this thing, but it's because of XYZ. Somebody online said something and that's why, you know what I mean? It's always somebody else's fault. So the chances of her actually like really apologizing and taking accountability are 0, I think.
When you give literally decades to people and the outcome is this, that's sad.
I'm actually, this is going to sound crazy, but like, I'm glad that the outcome is this. I'm glad because you know what? I don't have to deal with your ass anymore. I don't have to wonder every single day, is this going to be the day that she texts me? Is this going to be the day where she realizes I have nothing to do with the fight between her and my mom? Is this going to be the day? Is this going to be the Christmas where she says Merry Christmas? Is this going to be the birthday? Is this going to be the fucking New Year's? Is this going to be, I'm done. I'm free of it.
Okay. See, and what she's doing there is, again, playing the victim and saying, I've thought every day, maybe this is the day she'll realize how amazing I am and how I've done nothing wrong. Maybe she'll realize that she's missing out on a relationship with me. But now I'm free of it. Like, shut up. And again, she probably thinks that's true, that her aunt should at some point just come to the realization like, wow, what have I been doing with my life? There's no Amber in my life. I need to remedy that, you know? Okay, so at one point, Tammie is telling Jordy a story. It's a long story, but basically she had an affair. She was keeping it a secret from her family, and this is Tammie. And at one point she decides to trust Mama Lynn, her sister, with the story. Well, Mama Lynn tells Amber.
So I opened up to my sister and everything was good. Well, she tells Amber.
Oh.
And so I actually told the man the night before this happened, ironically.
She actually needs to be quiet, or in the tea that isn't hers, this air isn't cool. Yeah, this is weird. Yeah, she lives like 15 from me.
And so
She spent a lot of time. Now, I will say the story was pretty long, but she did talk a lot during it. Almost like trying to distract from it, maybe, but I don't know. It was a long story.
15 minutes.
I finally tell this man, I'm going to have to tell my husband. We're not barely even talking.
Like, this is weird,
at this
man.
point. I'm not living like a double life, but, I said, I have to tell my husband.
I guarantee you he hates himself after this for having to entertain this. I hope so.
We were talking about if we wanted to make a future together and all those things, So we were in the process of that. And that very next day is when Amber tried to blackmail me. And she said things like,
Mary.
that it was to try to get my sister to come live with me again. Because I would not let her back into my home. She said, I wonder what your husband would think if she knew you were doing what you were doing with the karaoke guy. And that's how.
Oh no, 22-year-old Amberlynn didn't like seeing her mom homeless. So she.
Oh, see? Okay. It's Tammie's home. She doesn't have to let her sister in, especially after her sister had been put in prison for trying to hurt their mom. She had been lying and stealing and all kinds of stuff and doing drugs in Tammie's home. So Tammie had kicked her out, and she did not want Mama Lynn back in her home. Now, why she told her sister the secret, I have no idea. That is a weird part of the story to me. Now, again, this is another one of those scenarios where everybody sucks. Don't get me wrong, and that seems to be a common occurrence with everybody in Amber's life, is everybody sucks, But immediately Amber goes to that, look, I was being a hero. How dare me be a hero? That is her mindset. She twists every story into her being the one saving everyone.
Blackmailed and said, oh, I wonder what your husband would do. Isn't that what she's been doing this whole time? Like, what are you?
No, she's just telling stories about you. That's it. There's no blackmail unless she contacted you ahead of time and said, give me some money or I'll talk about you or something. That would be blackmail. But no, this is just spilling tea. But what you did was actually blackmail. And it's just really telling and interesting that you would take that story and play the white knight for your mom. When I think you probably just enjoyed knowing a secret and messing with your aunt. And again, it's one of those cuts. It's one of those 1,000 cuts that she added to the list, Jordy brings up that at some point, one of Amberlynn's exes implied that Mama Lynn's current partner, boyfriend or whatever, was acting inappropriately with Amber at bingo. And Tammie's going to talk about that.
I wasn't there, of course, but I seriously doubt that. I know
Never
my
happened.
sister's partner, and he's a really cool guy. He's very laid back, and he probably can't stand Amber.
We actually get along really well.
So, again, I think Amber lives in a reality where she probably believes that. And to hear Tammie say it, he seems like a really chill guy, nice guy, and is probably pretty good at hiding his true feelings when he doesn't like somebody. That would be my guess. He probably just puts up with Amber because he loves Mama Lynn, and when she leaves, he is probably like, oh, thank God. So she can believe that, and maybe it's true, maybe they're best buddies. I don't know. But I can also see her convincing herself or just living in a reality where they're buddies, but she can't understand when people don't like her, would be my guess.
For 1 second, just forget the fact that you hate me and think about it for 2 seconds. Think about this for 2 seconds. Have you ever seen me come on here and just randomly like, hey, I'm about to spill some drama on someone without them doing it first? I'm not that type of person. But all these people come out the woodwork because they...
I think if she does have tea about somebody, either A, she would share it, or B, it's somebody that she knows if she does share it, they could spill tea on her. And at this point, I'm not sure who she would spill tea on. I can only think of one person that she could share drama about or spill tea on that would actually be interesting, and that would be Jade. But you know Jade's got tea to spill. So if Amber spilled tea, then Jade could just fire right back. But I don't know who else she would even spill tea about, you know? Like, who would she talk about? They start talking about Rarity, and I actually have some theories about Rarity and some thoughts, but this video is long enough already. I'll save that for another time. But at this part of the interview, they're talking about Wisconsin.
Scenario too, when she says she never was gonna move there. Okay. That's why we had conversations on we're gonna get a moving truck and she was gonna give away the couch in her apartment to my daughter and all these different plans, but we were never gonna move there. No, that wasn't her intention, you know.
Interesting. Yeah, we've known all along that she wanted to move in Wisconsin. She wanted to stay there as long as humanly possible. And she claims no, she wanted to come home. She's like, I wanted to come home the whole time.
I don't want to talk about Emily or the whole situation with that, but I came home when I did because I was genuinely not happy there. Even Emily knows that. It's something that I said repeatedly over and over. I was not happy.
And Emily just kept begging me to stay. Yet we have never seen any evidence that that's true. We have seen evidence of the opposite. We've seen evidence of Amber begging to stay, but Amber says, I don't have the energy to show receipts.
Just show your receipts. Prove yourself. I ain't got the energy.
It's true, but I can't prove it because I just don't have the energy. I'm not that type of person.
Amber, you could probably shut everyone up with proof. I probably could, but I'm not like this girly pop that's just like, here's proof, plus how the fuck do I show it?
Yeah, you are. When you have proof to show, you have the energy to show it. So Tammie here is saying that they were talking about getting moving vans and things like that. And remember when I said that the timeline was a little wonky? Well, Amber had said that the last time she reached out to Tammie was in February of 2024.
Finally, in February of 2024, I sent her a picture of me and her from Thanksgiving, and I was just like, love you, miss you. And all she did was heart it, and she never like responded. And I think I took that as a hint.
And that they had not spoken since then or even before then, because Tammie just never responded. But if she's talking to Tammie about moving vans and things like that, if that's true, that would have been in late 2024. So they were talking. Again, if any of this is true, but I would not doubt that Amber was talking about that with family members and whoever. So whether it's memory or just flat out lying, we can't trust any of the timelines that she gives us.
She just lies all the time.
It seems
All
like
the
it.
time.
Move here?
She said she never lies. She's always telling the truth.
I'm confused.
Well, that's another lie. Surprise.
So, I mean, I guess it's really anybody's guess. But, I mean, just personally, I think that...
So they were just talking about Rarity. And then Amber says, I left Wisconsin because I was miserable. And then Tammie says she said she didn't want to move there, but yet she was looking for moving vans and stuff like that. And then Amber says, move where? I'm confused. Where else would they be talking about? And it's interesting that she would play confused, and maybe she is confused because, I mean, come on. She may be confused all the time, but her response to Tammie clearly saying she wanted to move to Wisconsin was just to go, what is she talking about? I'm confused. And then just ignores it. All of this is weird.
If I wanted to stay in Wisconsin, I would have came up with some bullshit like, oh, I'm sick, or oh, my legs, or oh, I can't go. I would have came up with something that had to do with me. I would not ever put my animals in harm's way like that.
Interesting that she just flat out admitted, if I wanted to stay longer, I would have just made something up. You know, which, yeah, of course you would. That's the thing about Amber is I don't know that you can put anything past her, you know? When she decides she wants something, I think all bets are off at that point. She can live in a reality where she would never do anything to anybody or to any pets or anything. But as soon as she wants something, I think her childish mind takes over and all the other stuff doesn't matter. You know, her pet's well-being, her well-being, nothing else matters as long as she gets what she wants. Kind of like an addict.
Auntie Tammie, Aunt Tammie, whatever you want me to call you, think with your head for 3 seconds. You know I would never, ever in a million years do that to Rarity. That's why you're sitting here saying, I don't think that she would do that. Because I didn't. The timing is hectic. And for Jordy to like literally manipulate so many people into believing I did it, that's called defamation. That's called defamation and slander. Look up the definitions. And Jordy's lucky that I'm a lazy fucking bitch, or his ass would have been sued forever ago. Because he, and among other people, aka the ankle, has made so many people believe the most absurd shit I've ever heard in my life.
Here's the thing. Making somebody believe something about you isn't necessarily defamation.
Look up the definitions.
On its own. If they are saying, in my opinion, this is something that could have happened, they're in the clear. If people believe it, then, I mean, yeah, that sucks. But they're not claiming that it happened, as far as I could tell. All I ever heard was that they said, maybe this happened. What do you think? Or I think maybe this could have happened. And that's just sharing an opinion. So yes, is she a lazy person? Yes, 100%. Will she ever sue anybody? No. And is it because she's so lazy? Absolutely. And it's also because she will never really have a case. I would love for you to call a lawyer and tell them what you're wanting to sue for, and just hold the phone out here when they start laughing so loud it hurts your ears.
You're lucky I'm lazy. You're lucky. That's all I gotta say. You're lucky I'm lazy because, honey, I got the money. I got the time. I got the lawyer. But I'm lazy.
She's got the money. She's got the money to sue for somebody saying, I think she might have tossed her cat out to stay longer in Wisconsin, but not the money for Ozempic. Methinks your priorities are a little out of whack. Well, and we knew she had the money for Ozempic because she has the money for well over probably $3,000 a month in DoorDash. So she could get on Ozempic and still have lots of money left over to buy Legos, you know, because she's not spending all that money on food. But we know she loves her food. She won't go on Ozempic because she'll miss her food. Anyway, that's not the point.
But I know now she wants to be with the feeder. So obviously she doesn't want to ever lose weight, and she's going to die of obesity. So once I can swallow that pill, I can...
What did you say to my mom today? You want to know something that she said to my mom today? She literally straight up said, you're going to be the first one boo-hooing when your daughter dies. Who the fuck says that to their sister? You're going to be...
Well, I would like to hear the context. I don't think she just messaged her out of the blue and said that. I'm guessing there was a back and forth, right? And I'm guessing they were probably arguing about Amber and her relationship with Emily. Because like we saw in the beginning of this video, Tammie did not like the fact that Amber and Emily were together. And she was really trying to put Emily in her place and get her away from Amber. And it looked to me like Tammie was really trying to protect Amber. So I'm going to guess that she probably reached out to both of them, and they both argued and probably both were like, you don't know what you're talking about, and just defended Amber. And probably Emily, honestly. That's just my guess. And then at some point, Tammie probably got angry, or there's no telling what Mama Lynn said to her, and then she comes back with that, which she's not wrong. Mama Lynn is going to be real sad when her daughter passes from obesity, and Mama Lynn has been enabling it this whole time.
You're going to be the first one boo-hooing when your daughter dies. That's not a normal thing to say to someone.
And again, it's the fact that she's with Emily. And Emily might be somebody who would do that. We don't know, but I mean, we gotta know.
You love. That is not a normal thing to say to someone that you love, no matter how mad you are. Because you know who's going to be the second one boo-hooing? Probably her. Probably her. But it's going to be fake. At least my mom's boo-hooing is going to be real. And Auntie, you're kind of fat too. I mean, we're kind of a fat family, okay? Like, you're not better than me just because you weigh less than me. And I never said I wanted to be with a feeder, the feeder, it feeder. I'm so tired of that word. Oh my God.
Start moving on. And
It doesn't matter whether you said you wanted to be that. You were with one. You knew you were with one. So you can't come out here and play the victim and play like, I'm so sick of people talking about like that I wanted to be. Like, I never said I wanted, like, it doesn't matter if you said you wanted to be. The result is the same. You chose to stay with this person knowing who they were, knowing how dangerous it could be. And then you want to yell at us and yell at your aunt for calling you out on it. That is very Amberlynn coded. And I love how she said, you're not better than me just because you weigh less than me. Her mental gymnastics are on point.
Like, truly letting the dream die. Because I've been holding on for literally...
Cash, she's not worried about me. She's not worried about me at all.
What did you...
She sounded pretty worried about you when she was messaging Emily.
See the other day that she said on stream when she and Emily broke up, she laughed and said, well, I guess I can lose weight now.
I'm a troll.
Yeah.
See, and that's Amber, 100%. Anytime she regrets saying something, I'm a troll. It would just be being a troll. Or if she lies and gets caught in lying, I'm a troll. I was just being a troll. No, you were mad and you were speaking truth in that moment, would be my guess.
That was to me.
It's like she lies to you guys. She lies to us too. You know what I mean?
She lies to us too. I haven't lied to you and I don't talk to you. Get a life.
It's not just...
I think she probably lies to her family constantly. And like I said, it's that death by 1,000 cuts. I'm guessing over the years, we all have a family member where we just can't believe anything they say. And so when they call us and say, oh, this thing happened or that thing happened, we're just like, oh my God, really? Shut up. But we kind of have to deal with them because they're family.
You got, it's like when you're like, she's a feeder. No, she's not. No, she's not. Oh my God.
Because I didn't know she was or is, or I don't know. Like, it doesn't matter. Oh my God. Let's talk.
See, and there you go. She said, I didn't know that she was or but anyway, let's talk about something else. Because she said the first day we met in person, I knew the truth because she saw the Tumblr, she saw all the stuff. She has known all this time.
Literally, the day that we met in person, she messaged a girl saying how sexy she was. She messaged another masked lesbian feeder saying, wow, we're rare. Masked lesbian feeders. That's the day I found out the truth. That's the day I found out the truth about everything.
But then she wants you to believe that she just didn't know. And Emily was really supportive of me losing weight. Like, shut up. No, she wasn't. And yes, you did. So shut up.
Talk about your life, bro. Do you want to talk about your...
So let's talk about your life because I don't have a rebuttal to that. So let's talk about you now.
Just haters to where she gets my sister believing the same stuff just because Amber says it. I'm like, do you know your daughter? She lies.
Well, does your sister not watch any of the stuff online?
She says she doesn't. I don't know.
You don't know her. You don't know her. You have not talked to her in 2 years.
Well, how would she take Amber's side?
Huh?
Well, how would she take Amber's side? You think that she's like just trying to stick by her no matter what?
My sister is trying to make up for where she fell short.
She's on my side because she knows that all of this hate bullshit isn't real. My mom has seen it firsthand. My mom has been literally right there when something happens. Like something so small is like, I get recognized every single time I leave this apartment and I go somewhere. Like,
okay, all right. God, this again. All right. I want you to think about this realistically. Now, before I get into this, I want to say I don't doubt that she gets recognized sometimes. Okay? I'm guessing every once in a while somebody recognizes her. And I mean, as Amberlynn Reed, the YouTuber, I'm sure she gets recognized all the time as the big girl that goes to bingo or that big girl I keep seeing at Walmart or whatever. But let's think about this logically, okay? The biggest videos in gorlworld, other than like, you know, when Cinnamon Toast Ken or some big creator says something about Amberlynn Reed, those get like maybe 1 million views, right? That is a lot of views. But that's like a one-off video. The biggest videos in gorlworld are generally the documentaries that Mr. Snowflake does, and they get 300,000 to 500,000 views. So we can't really go by what her subscriber count is because there are lots of people that know her that aren't subscribed to her. And I understand that. But even, let's just say, even if 1 million people know who she is, that is spread all over the world. I would guess that there are YouTubers with 5 million, 10 million subs that if they were walking around in Target in Oklahoma City, nobody would recognize them. YouTubers are starting to become a little bit more mainstream, but the general population doesn't know YouTubers. Now, obviously, there are a few that have broken through into mainstream, like Mr. Beast, PewDiePie at one point, probably not anymore. But generally speaking, YouTubers are not mainstream. I mean, if you look at somebody like Drew Gooden and Curtis Connor and Danny Gonzalez, if they were to walk around in an Oklahoma City Target, they might get recognized a couple of times. But Amber thinks that she is like a mainstream YouTuber. She thinks she's like one of the most famous YouTubers. But even among YouTubers, which is already a niche category of celebrity or influencer, she is a niche YouTuber. A very select group of people know who Amberlynn Reed is. It's us weirdos that have fallen down this rabbit hole. And then on top of all that, she's always claiming that people are getting selfies with her. Everybody's coming up to her and asking her for pictures. But we have never seen a selfie from anybody except one that I can ever remember seeing. And that was a guy in Walmart who, it turns out, was a hater's brother. And that hater had told him, hey, Amberlynn moved to Oklahoma City. You live in OKC. Keep an eye out for her. If you ever see her, please take a picture. That would be funny. That is the only selfie with her I have ever seen. And think about how much time is spent on Reddit, on YouTube, on Instagram, everywhere, talking about Amberlynn. And you mean to tell me that nobody has just posted their selfie anywhere? Come on. So right here, Tammie's talking about Mama Lynn and the fact that she got sober.
And so, she was able to be an example to her 2 sons that struggle with drug addiction and really show that you guys, you can get it. You can get it. And I tell you, man, if my sister can get it, literally anyone can get it.
And that's something I've always said. If my mom can get sober, literally anyone can get sober. Like, genuinely, anybody.
I used to watch the show Intervention. I used to watch that show and cry because I wish my sister was only that bad. So when I see my sister now getting clean and sober, when I
have to charge my phone.
True, it's beyond measure, So never would I think that we wouldn't be talking right now. And I might as well just tell you that reason, because that's what's going to come up next. Very well.
You're not talking now because of you. You're freaking crazy.
See, that's always going to be the case. Whatever's happening, it's your fault. And again, she may believe that. She may actually believe that that's true because she will never see fault in anything she does.
Capital D-O-N-E, done.
Guys, I'm done.
Yeah.
Done. No.
She mostly doesn't like Snowflake because do you know the reason why?
Because he points out factual stuff about her?
Well, specifically, he has made videos talking about SA that Amber has experienced, and he has cast doubt on some of the stories that she has had to say, and they kind of butt heads.
SA against her, or?
Yes.
Okay.
From a cousin or something like that.
Oh,
But I understand this is a very sensitive topic, so I mean, if you don't.
I hate that Jordy had to bring this up because that was his way of trying to get my aunt to say something about it. My aunt was not in my life at that time. I was by my cousin when I was 7 years old. I told my mom when I was 12. That is something that happened. And that lives with me every single day. When I said that they would essay me, when I use the A word, assault, I consider harassment as an assault.
Yeah, I don't know a lot of the details. She has told me about it. It was on her father's side.
Okay.
I think at one point when she was removed from the home, she did stay with her dad's sister or stepsister or something. I don't know the people. And that's when all that, if it happened.
Gotcha.
I don't know the details of it. Yeah.
Well, there's mainly it's the things that he has had to say in regards to that with Amber, and that's specifically what she does not like about it. I mean, in addition to being a reaction channel and, you know, critiquing her content and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I guess, I don't know.
There's a lot more of you reaction people from like just even a couple of years ago that like I didn't even know who the hecticana was, but obviously he's pretty popular. I had heard of.
Well, how do you like that? And Tammie said my name. I feel like I have arrived in girl world. I am deep in the lore now.
But honestly, I don't really watch it that often. I watch Amber's.
Right.
I don't know. It gets really hard.
So that's interesting. She says that she doesn't watch reaction channel stuff that often, but she does watch Amber's videos, which I guess kind of makes sense. As a family member, you want to see what your niece is saying or whatever. And if that's the case, then she's getting Amber's side of things. She's not really getting the whole lore behind it or the reaction channel's version of things. Of course, she does know who Mr. Snowflake is. You know, she knew Jordy and stuff, but that could be because people were putting those names in her comments when she made her post. So I don't know. She could or could not be well versed in the reaction channel zeitgeist. Okay, so this will be the last part, but this is where Mama Lynn calls. All right. Now, I think Amber expects Mama Lynn to be really upset. Because remember earlier, she said, oh my gosh, she's going to be so hurt. She's going to be so upset. And she expects Mama Lynn to flip out or just be really upset that Tammie's doing this. So let's see what Mama Lynn says. And also keep in mind that Amber said this whole thing started because Mama Lynn called her and told her that Tammie was popping off or whatever.
Mom, I'm currently live streaming and everyone can hear you, so...
Okay.
Oh,
man. What did you want?
So Tammie, I'm not even gonna call her auntie anymore. I'm so fed up. She went onto a reaction channel and talked about you, me, personals, and completely twisted the narrative.
Like about what?
Just about everything.
Interesting. It sounds like Mama Lynn had no idea that this was happening. Amberlynn is such a liar.
Why you guys are arguing, things that I did when I was 17, things that I did in my early 20s, that I'm nothing but a lying manipulator, like literally turning me into like a actual villain. Like, I'm gonna order my villain costume after I get off the phone. Like, it's crazy.
Wow.
So I'm currently live streaming right now, reacting to the things that she said.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Like, she's off the rocker. I don't know if she's...
She said, oh, wow.
not sober, but something's not right. Something is not right.
I don't know what's going on.
Because it came out of nowhere.
Yeah. I have no idea what's going on. I don't talk to her.
Neither of us do.
Okay. I tell you.
And she's sitting there telling people how I have been so horrible to her for 2 years now because I never talked to her. Mom, how many times did I message her and she just didn't care?
Yeah.
It's her that don't talk to you because you moved downtown.
Yeah.
So it's just like...
Moved where she wanted you to.
Yeah, I know. I didn't even share that story. It's so much. It's layer on top of layer on top of layer. And it's just like, I'm sitting over here having to defend.
Mama Lynn's boyfriend said, you moved where she wanted you to. Huh, that's interesting. I'm not sure what that says about the whole thing, but let's just file that away. Remember that Mama Lynn's boyfriend said, even after you move where she wanted you to, meaning Tammie wanted Amber to move there. Huh.
I just had to quit. Like, she was being so mean to me, I just quit texting back.
I know.
Thought, well, if I keep texting back, I'm just feeding the fire, so.
No, Mom, I made it very clear in my live stream that she was verbally attacking you out of nowhere. Like, you're not like that. Like, you are not like that at all. So I ended up actually messaging her. Are you still there?
Yeah.
Okay, I ended up actually messaging her.
See, and it sounds like Mama Lynn is just like, whatever. And Amber's like, Mom, you would not believe. I got to tell you this whole story. And Mama Lynn's like, okay. And I don't doubt that, they're sisters, and I'm sure that they've been going at it. But I just still think the reaction from Mama Lynn is funny, and it gets better.
It was before I went live, and I was just like, I was very calm, but I was just like, why are you doing this? Like, you saw me struggling, and you literally were just like, oh, I'm going to make this worse, like, blah, blah, blah. Her response was...
Why's that apartment open?
I don't think she's even listening. I don't think she gives a shit what Amber is saying right now.
An apartment's open? Sorry guys, my mom's walking into her apartment right now.
Yeah, we know.
Sorry, Amber.
They don't talk, Cass. It literally, all of this popped off today. This is the first time they've talked in forever.
Yeah, I don't talk at all.
Yeah.
To my sister.
But yeah, I messaged her this well thought out thing, and all she could say was, "Funny how you reach out now, but not for the last 2 years. Goodbye, Amber." I'm like, what? So unhinged. I just don't even know. Yeah. It's never.
I don't know.
But I'm.
I have to set healthy boundaries for myself. So.
Exactly. And I'm proud of you for that.
I love you.
But I love you, and I'll see you tomorrow morning. Okay?
Hey.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. Google and see how far the grooming place is from your house. It's like 23 minutes from my house. Okay. But I don't know how far.
Yeah, I gotta set healthy boundaries. Anyway, about that groomer, like, she didn't care. Amber really wanted her to pop off, you know, but Mama Lynn was just like, yeah, whatever, it's family stuff.
Maybe 10 minutes from your house.
Yeah, I will. I'll message you.
And then let me know. All right, bye.
I love you, bye. Yeah, XL hoodie. Mama Lynn is not going to give any time to Tammie. Like, I'm telling you, like, my mom is just not the type to, my mom does not do the dramas. My mom does not do the dramas. That's why if I was drama, I would not be in her life. Trust me, she'd be like, can't do it, girl. Can't do it.
Oh, shut up. Oh my God. That is the most unself-aware thing I have ever heard in my entire life.
That's why if I was drama, I would not be in her life.
Amberlynn Reed just said, if I were involved in drama, my mom would not want me around. If I was involved in drama, shut up. So yeah, I think that's where I'm going to stop it. This was wild, and I don't know. I'm still not 100% sure what to think about Tammie. This did sound pretty vindictive and sound like she was just wanting to vent, mainly about Mama Lynn, and sort of also kind of tie Amber in with all that. So I don't know, but I do understand why she got to the point where she didn't want to talk to Amber anymore, why she burnt that bridge. Because you can only imagine how frustrating it would be to have Amberlynn as family. You know, that would suck. And it may not be one big event that causes you to cut ties, but just with Amber, it's just her attitude. It's just her. Amberlynn being Amberlynn will eventually push you to the point where you just don't want to be around Amberlynn anymore and you don't want to talk to her. And probably the most frustrating thing would be that she is oblivious, that she is convinced that you're the problem. So while I'm not 100% on Tammie's side, I can understand her perspective in this whole thing. So we'll see where this goes. I imagine Tammie will probably maybe talk to Mr. Snowflake or something and maybe share some more stories, but I don't know. We'll see. It has been a wild time in gorlworld, and I appreciate you guys coming along for the ride. I will see you in the next one. Take care.